Music, and we're going to talk about how you can play a song called I Should Have Known Better by the Beatles. And we're going to start off with kind of our intro progression on a G major chord. When we play G major, first finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, second finger on the low E 3rd fret, and third finger on the high E on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now you may also want to think about putting the third finger on the B string 3rd fret, pinky on the high E 3rd fret. That may make it a little bit easier to get to our next chord, which is the D major chord. When we play D major, first finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, second finger on the high E 2nd fret, and third finger on the B string 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now around Ds in general, it can also be cool to kind of lift off the second finger and make that a D suspended second. Or you could add in the pinky on the high E 3rd for a D suspended chord and kind of say some things around the D chord. And it's almost like this really, really cool kind of halving idea. And if you want to kind of match the recording, it kind of sounds like you start on the G with kind of a down, down, and then we go to the D with a down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up. So you have G down, down, D down, up, down, up, G down, down, D down, up, down, up, G down, down, D down, up, down, for kind of that main G lick. Now there's a couple other strumming patterns that you may want to use through the tune though. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So to the G and just tried that a lot. You'd have down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. There's a couple ways you could apply that to that intro part if you wanted to. And you could do just a down, down, up on each of those chords if that's a little bit easier for you. Down, down, D down, down, G down, down, D down, down, up. Or if you're a little bit more adventurous, you could kind of half the pattern and do the G with a down, down, up, and then go to the D for the up, down. So you have G down, down, up, D, up, down, 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 up. Or another variation you may want to play around with is kind of a down, up, down, up, up, down, up. So you have G with a down, up, 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 down, up. You gotta half that. So you have G with a down, up, down, up, D, up, down, G down, up, down, up, D, up, down, G down, up, down, up, D, up, down, G, D. So you want to play around with those or kind of mix it up through the tune. Actually, can be very cool too. And then from that intro, we'll be going into our main verse part. And we start off with our G-D idea, and we do that 5 times, but then we go to an E minor chord. And then we play E minor. First finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, second finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. Now you can also take the third finger and put them on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd. That's another way you can kind of work the E minor 7. E minor 7. And we kind of end up doing our whole strum pattern on the E minor. And then we go to a C major. We play C major. First finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, second finger on the D string 2nd fret, and third finger on the A string 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord. It sounds really, really happy. Now you may also want to think about lifting off the first finger and making that a C major 7. Or you could take the pinky and add it in on the B string 3rd for the C major 9, kind of say some things around C chords. Or another way to play C major 9 is to do first finger on the D 2nd, second finger on the A string 3rd, third finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major 9. It sounds really, really happy. And we do our whole strum pattern on the C, and our whole strum pattern on the D, and then we go back to kind of our G-D idea at the very end, kind of having our G and D. So we tried that first verse with our strum pattern. We'd have kind of the G, D, G, D, G, D, G, G, D, E minor, C, D, and we'll have our G, D, G, D. And then from there, we kind of go into kind of our next verse or kind of our pre-chorus idea, where it starts off the same way. We do our G-D idea 5 times, and then we go to our E minor chord, and then we go to a C major chord, but then we take a cool Paul McCartney trick ending to a B7 chord, and then we play B7. First finger goes to the D string on the 1st fret, second finger on the A string 2nd fret, third finger on the G string 2nd fret, and and the pinky on the high E on the 2nd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a B7 chord, and it sounds really nasty. B dominant 7. Now you may also want to think about kind of taking the 3rd finger and flattening him over the G, B, and E. And kind of working that as a B9 can be a cool sound to play around with on that chord too. So we tried our pre-chorus with our strum pattern. We'd have kind of that G, D, G, we start out on the E minor, and then we go to C, and then we go to G, and then we go to B7, and then we go back to E minor, and then more E minor, and then we go back to G, and then you may want to make a change to a G7 chord, where you do 1st finger on the high E 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the low E string 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G7 chord, and it sounds really nasty. But it really helps point to C. And that's where we go, is we go to C major, and then we go to D, and then we go to G major, and then E minor, and then a C, and then a D. We kind of go back to our G idea and D idea to kind of end our chorus. So we tried our strum pattern through the chorus. You'd have the E minor, C, Now, one other thing I think about adding to the song, though, is bass notes. And a lot of times on that first down, the down, down, up, down, up, or the down, up, down, up, down, up, or the down, 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 up, down, up, and you can throw in a bass note for the chord. So on the G, you'd have the low E for the bass. On the D, you'd have the D for the bass. On the C, you'd have the A for the bass. On the E minor, you'd have the low E for the bass. And on the B7, you'd have the A for the bass. So we try adding basses to our verse. Then we have the G with low E bass, D, G, matches a lot of our verse. We got G, D, G, 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 E minor, C, D, G, D, and then from there, we kind of go back into our pre-chorus part. So we got the G, into our chorus part. So E minor, C, G, 7, E minor, G, G7, C, G, E minor, C, D. Our outro, which is just like our intro. So we go like G, D, G, D, G, D, G, and then you want to play a big G. Kind of made people clap at the very, very end. But that's the basics of how you can strum through I Should Have Known Better by the Beatles. So good luck!